Come on then, Maui.
Also,
What's your ugly point?
Mine is the it's rumored right now, but due to people that are data scraping what's going on with Valve and the updates to CS2, that they may switch over to MR12, and I just find that ugly. There's obviously something to be said about the fact that maybe it plays out and we all just like it, but I also say out the rip, like, just that there are a couple things that if the econ doesn't change in its current form, I would not like MR12, and I would even have an alternative. But the first thing is just that pistol rounds obviously have a huge influence on the game, and a lot of people consider them to be a bit more random than, say, the gun rounds. I don't think that they're necessarily random, given that teams like G2 have shown that you can be very consistent on pistol rounds with a combination of obviously very strong pistol players and some pretty unique strategies at times. So I don't necessarily buy that. It's like some people go as far to say like pistol rounds aren't Counter-Strike, which I don't agree with that at all. And I think it's kind of a non-statement statement that just kind of actually calls out how dumb the person is that's saying it. But I will say that when like it goes to an MR12 and the pistol round more or less decides 3 of 12 rounds, that's a big difference, that it's essentially a quarter of the rounds are decided by one versus a fifth of the rounds. So that really can hurt how the game plays out, and it would actually probably lead to teams like G2 actually just winning more tournaments, which, you know, maybe that's just how Counter-Strike becomes. But I would say that the proposed change I would have, instead of doing MR12, is I would actually just want to go back to some of the old times of the game, because I think it used to be 1 minute 45. The bomb timer was 5 seconds shorter. I would say that you have to adjust then Molotov times and smoke timings for duration because of that. But I would be more willing to accept that the round time would change and shorten, for that matter, as opposed to playing MR12, which in its current state would just lead to pistol rounds having too strong of an effect on the outcome of a game.
I mean, pistols are not really super random, but they are also not super important because you can still lose force. You can still lose to full eco, for example, but the thing is, if they want to switch to MR12, they need to switch the economy, because I think right now this is the problem. Like, you can win pistol, but if you let someone plant the bomb, you are fucked as City, because they can buy 5 galleys or even drop like 2 AKs and buy. Yeah. Like, what is the point of winning the round if you are losing in economy? This is the thing they need to think about. Like, if they want to switch the rounds, they need to switch the economy also.
Yes. I even think that's the part that's the most misunderstood about the flaw with the current game, is that it's specifically CT that it keeps fucking up. Because as you're, like in your team, for example, if you win the pistol and then they, like one guy survives on your side and you're on CT side, well, some Pius is going for the AWP. He's not going straight to a fucking M4 after that, even if he had the money for it. So at that point in time, the T's, all of them, if they want, can have a better rifle than some Pius in the next round. Like, there's something wrong with that equation. Like, everyone can see there's something off with that. Like, what you would call, like, the incentive structure's broken at that point in time. So I think that is a problem. And to me, the reason why I hate this whole discussion is because I can't tell what discussion people are having, Maui. Like, if it's about, like, what the general game's about, well, then maybe we can have an MR12 if you want that for matchmaking. I mean, the same way when they made, like, the half as long mini game, that is better for randoms. Like, if you're just a player playing, play the one where it's, like, 8 rounds a half. It's way better for you, mate. It's way better than getting stuck in a game with people you don't know and playing 30 rounds and going, bloody hell, I'm killing myself here. Like, it's better to just play the fun one. So I can't tell. Do people mean for casuals? Because for casuals, maybe it's a better format. For pros, I think MR12 is terrible. So I have said, to do it, I either need, 1, completely pistols have to go, because I need as many gun rounds as I can have, or 2, I need to change the economy and fix it, so essentially there aren't as many issues. Because if all you do is change to MR12, people haven't even thought on some of the knock-on effects. Like, for example, there will be more saves, not less, because now each round is worth even more. Now we can't do like a fucking... In fact, currently, as much as you might not like it, one of the reasons why people do those like not even like a full force, but like a half buy of like a scout and a few pistols. It's because there's so many rounds and a half. We can take a few gambles at that. We can have a few chances and hope that like Sun Pius or Sivison or someone hits a scout headshot and we get back in the game. If this is like an MR12 game and we're already down like 0-5, no one's doing that. It's like you're going to have to just do a full save. You're going to have to do like an old school save almost. Like, I don't think people realise it might fix certain things. Like, it will make the game by definition last less time, but it will make certain parts of it worse. Like, what the real problem with this scenario is, this type of balance is the hardest to do because you're not changing one factor. It's like the concept of like whack-a-mole. Like when this one pops up and you whack it down here, another thing pops up elsewhere. You know what I mean? So like you can't even know yet what fixing this thing does to the other thing. And also, it's the same thing for me as part of the issue with like BO5 finals. You know, when I absolutely just wrecked everyone because they were using like completely mutually exclusive logic, Maui. Like on the one hand, they said best of 5 finals suck because they last 8 hours and they're just too draining, but also they're all 3-0. And it's like, just fuck off, will you? Whoever just said that, look, if it's you Launders, just fuck right back off to Canada, mate. We used to run the place. Tell you what, bring one of the Frenchies over. We don't need people like you with your bozo thoughts like that. The fuck are you talking about, you cretin? What 3-0 was every 8.5 hours? So in the same scenario, like you're all saying, oh, I want MR12. I'm so sick of all these games that are 30 rounds. I'll tell you what you're going to really hate. All the fucking 12-2 wins. You're going to enjoy those, are you? All the fucking 13-2 wins that people have on Nuke. That's going to be fun. That's going to be garbage. What about a BO3 where I'm a team that picks Nuke and you pick fucking Overpass? What if I just win like 2-0 in like a fucking 1.5 hour game? Like, see what I mean? Every time you think you've fixed it, in this scenario, we're talking about something that affects the whole game. So it's not as simple as tweak this one thing here. You have to actually do like a holistic change that fixes it. That's why, to me, it all comes back to the economy, mate. If we fix the economy, we already know MR15's fine. We've had it for decades. In fact, if people don't know, in case someone's a real noob, Counter-Strike was MR12 for like the first 4 or 5 years in CS 1.6. It began as MR12. We went to MR15 specifically for reasons like Maui said. When we had the old hard reset, it used to suck when someone literally won 2 pistols and the ecos and had won half of a game that was 6 of the 12 rounds to get to championship point. So making it MR15 made it like, right, phew, now we can sort of have pistol tactic, but it doesn't decide the whole game. Brilliant. That was considered a positive. So I think people don't know. This is why the real question to bring it all the way back is, why is Valve doing it? Which is sadly the answer we never get right. Because I don't believe, this is the other thing as well, Valve aren't sitting here like us. They're not like fans like, I'm really sick of Virtus Pro taking 3 hours to play the game. We need to that's not why they're making MR12, guys. Like, they don't know anything about Virtus Pro and Jim and his nightmares, sadism across the fucking esports. They're just doing it for some casual reason, I would guess. Or they did like a focus group, you know, and asked some pleb fan and he was like, oh, I think 12's better than 15. Or whatever, like, and I'll just throw this in there. Technically, you're all wrong anyway, isn't it? Remember how you all tried to gaslight me, even though I was there in Counter-Strike and you weren't? Where it was like, oh, yes, I know that they have changed it now to max rounds 30. It was always max rounds 15. They just changed it on the actual CSGO back end to say it's max rounds. So why aren't you all saying max rounds 24? Why are you all saying that, eh? Where you at, eh? Where y'all at? People from HLTV.org, max rounds 24, not 12, of course. What are you talking about? That's the saddest thing about my content. I have to like update you on like petty things I care about that no one else gives a fuck about. From years ago, I have to like keep track. Like, and then this guy, yeah, you also said that. Don't worry, I've got like a chart. Look, then Professor from HLTV said this. And then Launders said that. Like, too many beefs going on. But anyway, in short, yeah, I'm not a big fan of MR12, basically. There you go. Not a big fan. Not a big fan.
All to that.
Are you a fan, Dika? Would you accept it if you had to take it?
Not really. I'm fine with like MR15. I don't really like the MR12 because every single round will be even more important than it's right now, as you said. Like, no one will do gamble half buy, for example, with Tech 9. No one will do this because they are like, we are losing one round, we are not gonna do it. And right now, you can do it. You can be 0-8, 0-10. You can still win the match. You can still win the map. And it's not gonna happen with fucking MR12.
Yes.
Because I don't see a way where teams like Virtus Pro, they will gamble force buys or anything like this. They will just not do it.
I'll give you one
And
last
I think-
reason that's mad underrated as well, mate. Here's one, which is one thing about Counter-Strike is it already in the game has a fucking comeback mechanic built into the economy of the game, which is that the money caps out, so you can't go past 16k anyway, and because CT side has to buy guns every round pretty much, and kits and utility, etc., already you can win loads of CT rounds. Everyone knows this, and when you get into an MR15 game, you lose one round on CT and you're back to a half buy again. That won't happen in MR12 because there's less rounds. Like now, if you get ahead and you get the build up the bank on CT side of Nuke, you might just run the rest of the game out with money. Like that's a nightmare if you're the T side. Like good luck getting back into that game when everyone has like 9k. There's only 3 rounds left.
I just think like if they will switch, we will see even more problems than now. Like
Basically 9 of the main team pushing for MR12 as far as I can tell. So. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.